what were your first experience when you were kind of going on the first sail?
Yeah, I was scared. I was scared because I remember that we nearly missed our flight. I was joining the ship in Calcutta. This was close to 10 plus 10 on my day one.
Was
Yeah,
it like ship is just going this way and that?
yeah,
Is it just like that?
completely going. It's rocking, and I'm completely seasick. Like you're holding on to the railings, just dear God, don't let me go types. Don't want to fly off somewhere.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to EdTalk, a podcast where we dive deep into the ever evolving landscape of education. I'm your host, Sagar Dhawan, who will help you in taking you through this journey of education leaders who are trying to contribute in the Indian education industry. And in the premiere of EdTalk Podcast, we have Captain Preetham Madhukar. Captain Preetham Madhukar has served 20 plus years overseas as merchant navy commander, and it has been a great journey for him. We have talked about a lot of things. We have talked about how his first day almost turned into his last day of being into merchant navy, and then we have talked about pirates. We have talked about how today's generation is all about procrastination. We've also talked about how he helps students in stargazing without binoculars, without the telescopes, and how all of this is adding up in making more will development leaders in India, if not skill development. So stay tuned. I'm going to see you in the video, and like, share, and subscribe if you like the podcast. Thank you very much. Hello, Captain. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you for this very wonderful, warm introduction. Feel very honored, and it's a pleasure to be here speaking to you. And I'm looking forward to this moment.
Well, pleasure is all ours, sir. Thank you very much for joining us in the premiere episode of EdTalk. It's really a pleasure to have you. So, my whole team, and I'm sure our first viewers will be really excited to start from the scratch. So, speaking of 20 years before, or rather, building myself as a layman in front of you, what is merchant navy actually? How does it function, and what does it do? If you can help us understand that.
Yeah. Merchant Navy initially started off in the as the goods carrying, transporting things that people needed in their day-to-day life. There is things that say that it goes back as old as 50,000 years, the job as itself, the origin of the job, because people had to move things from, say, island A to B, or wherever they had to go. There were caveman drawings. So as a profession, they say it's one of the oldest professions in the world, right? And but over the years, it has evolved and changed from being, purely along the coast and nearby places to being some sort of an international maritime adventure, as it's called, where you're going between countries, between around the globe today. And so things have changed. We are no longer exploring new lands, but we are moving from one place to another, ensuring that it's a safe voyage and a safe journey. So this is, in a way, what I would say merchant navy is. It's filled with its own adventure, dangers, because we have to battle the natural elements, the weather especially, which is not in our control. No matter how much we plan, that can always add an element of mystery to it.
I'm sure, and we are really excited to talk about your entire experience and journey of 20 years. It's a good span to kind of go through all kind of adventures on sea. Uh, so, in a nutshell, in layman's language, let's say if a car is traveling through sea, so is merchant navy part of that whole logistics?
Yeah, today, from what I've known, the logistics and the statistic that say that just about anything that you're using today has traveled on a ship at some point in its life. Maybe not the button, maybe some materials for the button, okay, of your shirt. Or could be not the shirt, maybe a shirt was stitched in a particular country or a home country. Maybe the dyes or the clothing somewhere, the thread or something may have come from another country, right? So in a sense, we are in a very interconnected world, and people who sail on merchant ships are in a way providing that linkage between exporters, importers, between buyers, sellers. So it's what is known as the real economy, right? And the drivers of real economy is merchant navy cadre.
Brilliant. I always wondered the difference between Navy and Merchant Navy. If few of our friends really worked in that, but didn't ever get a chance to. Because then there are a lot of myths about being in Merchant Navy. We might talk about them also. But let's try to deep dive into your passion.
Okay.
Why Merchant Navy? I mean, how do you thought about getting into Merchant Navy? Uh, what was the fuel for the passion for joining the Navy?
Yeah. Way back, I mean, somewhere around 13, 14 years, I used to read a lot of books. And back then, books and novels were the way you could entertain, unlike TV. And that time, somewhere, those books inspired me about sailing and those adventures. Uh, Books like, Mutiny on Bounty, very nice novel, Robinson Crusoe. And I was always like daydream sometimes, thinking that I wanted to sail on the seas. And with time, it just got deeper that, I have to sail on the seas. I couldn't even explain myself or couldn't give you any logical answer of why I wanted to sail. And also, I didn't know what to do about it, right? And my family, there's nobody in my family who were, in the sailing field. So they had no clue what to do. And so that was a challenge by itself. And I was ready to join both the Indian Navy and Merchant Navy. I said, I'm going to give my heart out, try for both. And because my goal was, I wanted to sail on the seas. And it was like, whichever took me there, I was going to take that path. So yeah.
That's brilliant. Okay, let's try to let's. I'm sorry to slice it short. I'm really excited on this
Yeah.
on this point.
Mhm.
Um, when was that pivotal moment when you thought about, no, now I'm going to Navy, or I will figure out what it takes to go into Navy or sail on seas?
Hmm. So I don't have any exact uh, time or a phase, but it was in the spectrum of my eighth, ninth standard kind of a thing, right? Around that time, it was get cementing. And I would tell people that I'm joining the Navy or I want to sail on sea. They would be, what is that? And how does even one go? I said, I have no clue either. I'm going to figure it out, right? And so that is how it kind of evolved. And I said, I have to find out what to do. And I would go visit these bookstores, cycle away there and go to those bookstores. And they also had no clue what Navy was, Merchant Navy. They had nothing. So they said, just go into some particular shelves, maybe you'll get some answers. And then I started realizing, oh, Navy means this, Indian Navy means this, Merchant Navy means this. How does one apply? Okay, what should I prepare? And I started putting more and more time and energy into it, right? And my friends would be like, hey, study for the exam. What are you wasting time doing this Merchant Navy, Indian Navy stuff, right? I said, no, but my goal is to get there. If I can get there, that's all that matters, right? And so I would spend a lot of time on that pursuit of how to join and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you kind of made your own way to first of all find out what the way is, and then
What
followed that.
ways? Yeah, because there was nobody there. Like I sometimes draw this analogy of like how cricket was before '83 World Cup, right? Not everybody knew, and even if you did say you want to become a cricketer, they're like pagal hai kya types. I mean, what is this you're going to join? It Kapil Dev in a way turned around cricket for the rest of the country, right? So I draw the analogy of cricket in pre 83, 1983, before Kapil Dev won the World Cup, where cricket, I mean, I saw the movie 83 and it was so apt that nobody cared about cricket. Cricket was like some game people play and no, it's not even something people watched. And Merchant Navy back then, when I was joining, was something like that. Not many people knew, and people didn't think of it as anything important. Okay. And so it was also challenging that way to convince that I want to go into that, right? Today, to join cricket is no brainer. Like, who doesn't want to become a cricketer, right? But back then, Merchant Navy, also today, Merchant Navy people are more aware. and they have a lot more information what to do and how to join, but it wasn't the case there. So coming back to it, so there was this added challenge of uh, not having that information or not having this kind of what you can say awareness about this career, right? So it was that challenge which added to the whole finding that path through that, cutting through that. And yeah, it was an adventure by itself to join.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. Speaking of adventures, when we talk about seas and navy personnels, and I wonder how does it feel. We all have seen certain horrific videos, uh, and a lot of facts that and myths that I'm definitely going to talk about.
Yeah.
But what were your first experience when you were kind of going on the first sail? How did you feel? Were there butterflies in your stomach, or you were like, you were
Yeah.
there standing and just looking around?
Yeah, I was scared. I was scared because I remember that we nearly missed our flight. I was joining the ship in Calcutta and flying out from Mumbai, joining Calcutta, and reached there around night. It was already 6, 7 o'clock, and they said we are going to be joining the ship tonight around midnight. So I said, okay, but we don't even know what it is. We have only seen pictures of the ship, okay, in some classrooms, and we don't even know how it looks. And we took us, and it was like night and dark, all sort of lit up. We just walking and walking. We didn't even know what happened. Okay, walked, and then we are on this like a whatever, climbed up few stairs here and there, and I can see a lot of pipes and a lot of lights all over. It looks like some big factory, giant factory or something. Yeah, and the agent, as we would call the one who would bring us there, told, hey, and me and my friend were there, and he was like, hey guys, welcome on your first ship, he said. I said, ship, where is it? I said. He said, you're standing on it, and that's when I realized, oh my God, this is one gigantic kind of ship, and it was very overwhelming to be there on that, and because no picture did justice to it and to that feeling, and it felt overwhelming. My God, how do I even find my way if I get lost in this? And so then that was the day. As soon as we went, we were put to work. It was not like, okay, we had a holiday or something. Immediately back to the grind. We just changed into our overalls and we got down to working. Right, this is day one. You had a whole travel. You just start off your day at work, right? And my first day, and then of course we were at port. We sailed out the next day, and on my day one was a storm. Okay, it was a stormy seas. We have something called a Beaufort scale where we grade the storms into levels. 10.
Beaufort scales.
Beaufort scale, it's called Beaufort scale.
Beaufort scale. Okay.
BF scale. So there we grade the storms. One would be like literally like a mirror. Zero would be like a mirror. Going up to 10, which is like really storm force, and 12 would be hurricane levels, which is really the fiercest, right? And this was close to 10 plus 10 on my day one.
Okay, so to put in perspective for the audience,
Yeah.
was it like ship is just going this way and that?
Yeah.
Is it just like
Completely going, it's rocking, and I'm completely seasick on my day one. And if the ship speed, okay, let's take it as X. Okay, it was going and they were going full speed, but because the winds are so strong, you're going almost at 20% of your full speed. So that is the kind of resistance you're facing from the winds, from the waves, and it's completely rolling like crazy, and what we call pitching, where you're going up and down, and like you're holding on to the railings, just dear God, don't let me go types, don't want to fly off somewhere, and and wondering, my God, did I sign up for this or what? And it was a good adventure. But they said, hey, you know what? It's good. You got the roughest day on your day one. Maybe it will get better from here for you. And so it was a nice. So we had a good crew, good of camaraderie there, and so things started getting better after that 2-3 days of almost hell like a experience of the seas. Things got better, and I got more and more acclimatized to the seas.
That was a really adventurous first day, as you said.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
uh, to everyone, this is not what you expect on your daily jobs. It's
yeah.
not an easy job, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
What is the duration, sir? I mean, let's say you, first of all, how many ports are there in India from where, the ship starts? And uh, I mean, what are the number of ports, and to how many have you worked upon
I
or
mean,
traveled from?
what I'm aware at least before is like at least there are 11 to 12 major ports in India. Okay, 12 major ports. Could be more now, but around that much. And there are many small minor ports as well, small ones, right? So I've been to all of the major ports and in India, and including Andamans. And so it could be on different cargoes. And the voyages could be that you could be going, say, from Calcutta to Haldia and things like that, to right up to Chennai, and then round Sri Lanka and come up again to Kochi side, Mumbai, Gujarat. So that whole coastline you're traveling, especially if you're on the Indian coast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And these are the same docks where all these what do you call them? Cruise ships also, people get on them, and then these are the same ports where you
Cargo
guys
ships
and
also come. Yeah.
the cargo
So
ships. Yeah.
the cruise ships and the cargo ships come to the same port, but they have what is known as different terminals.
Like airports. So there are
Like
different
airports,
terminals.
cargo terminals are different. Most 80-90% will be cargo terminals only, maybe 5-10%, because they are not, people today don't travel by ship other than for those cruise adventures. Not it's not a need that I have to travel. There's flights for that today, right? So, but cargo is the main user of the port, cargo vessels. So bulk of it is cargo terminals, and so cruise also comes. And not every port is a cruise ship terminal. Like today, Mumbai, Kochi, and all have come up, Chennai, but otherwise, very few are dedicated to have those big cruise ships and all.
Okay. Okay. What is the average day? I'm not sure. Again, I'm trying to sound smart with stupid questions. What's the max duration you've ever traveled on seas?
On seas, I would say close to 30 days. 30 days, 30, 35,
30
35
days.
days. Yeah, 30, 35 days. When we were going from somewhere from Hong Kong, okay, crossing the Pacific Ocean, which is the biggest ocean, and cutting through something called the Panama Canal, right? And crossing over to the other side, to the Atlantic, and going up to probably New York. So you're really
Okay.
like a multi-day stretch. That's a super long kind of voyage, which at least used to be there. Yeah.
Okay. Panama Canal is that one where recently a ship got stuck and there was a billions of dollars of
Correct.
loss that
That
companies
was
were, right?
Suez Canal. Sorry, Suez Canal.
Suez Canal, I'm sorry.
That's in
Yeah.
Egypt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Panama
Uh,
Canal is also like a wonder. It's like where you're crossing two oceans. You're going from Pacific Ocean to Atlantic Ocean. Okay. And the ship actually climbs up in stages, okay, through something known as gates, log gates. That means you're coming into the ship, they fill it with water, raise you up. Then you go for a little distance, again, you fill it with gate, raise you up, like that. You come to quite a good height. And then you're on that lake, something called as Gatun Lake. And then you come down via steps and come to it's like a staircase for the ship, right? And you cross over to the Atlantic Ocean or Atlantic to Pacific Ocean. So it's almost like a
and
man-made wonder, you could say. Yeah.
I'm
People,
sure it is about manipulating the density of ship to sort of climb on,
not
water or keep
necessary, not
afloat.
necessary. It's like there is a lake which is on the higher side in Panama. Okay. So the lake water comes to a smaller channel, which is like a gate. Okay. So when the ship is into the gate, the gates are closed and water from the lake is filled up. So you come to the
Oh,
same height as the lake. Right? When you're in the same height as the lake, the gate is open and you travel through the lake. On the other
okay,
side, it's
okay.
pulled down. You come down, you step down.
Okay, we'll try to ask my team to put some graphics for it because I
Graphics,
can
yeah.
imagine how does it work. I guess it's the same way how Swiss Canal works. It's how the other
Suez
canals
Canal, there
work.
is no gates. There is
There are
no
no
gate.
gates to it.
No gates.
Okay,
It's
it's
a
just a
straight
pathway.
cut through, just a cut through.
Uh,
And it is different in the sense it's narrow, very narrow, restricted, small canals. So you have to really navigate very, very cautiously, because if you get caught in the wind, like how it happened, then you can get stuck. And when a ship, if you close the Suez Canal, it's a huge impact on the world economy.
Yeah, it was what, close to $100 billion or something.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
crazy number was
yeah,
there that
yeah,
was kind of getting lost every day.
yeah, yeah,
Um, when we all have seen, there are certain stories that we know. Have you seen a movie called Captain Phillips?
yeah, yeah. I have.
You have. Okay. So my question is related to that.
Mm,
Pirates. All
mm.
have heard of pirates. Now the numbers are dipping, but pirates is like our hero is Pirates of Caribbean and
Yeah,
Parlay and
yeah,
all those kind of things.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I am sure that's not how it works. Have you ever had a
Yeah.
counter or encirculated with number of pirates, or have you ever had some experience such as that?
Yeah, I've had actually. I mean, there were many smaller pirates before the Somalian pirates became so popular, right? They were here and there. They were more like little bit like thieves to little, bigger thieves kind of a thing. And they would come and rob and, probably take a lot of assets from the ship. There is money, there is personal assets of the crew. There is some cargo worth, worth a few millions. But Somali pirates were another ball game. They went into ransom, and it was uh, probably, they say, interconnected with a bigger number of players other than the Somali pirates, right? So that transiting that area was a very stressful for any merchant ships, because at the end of the day, you have your families to come back home to, right? They are all worried, and you're worried that you can go through this without any incident, right? And we do carry armed, weaponry, armed guards during those transit. And there was an incident where sometimes, these pirates come, they just want to check you out. They want to see if you're an vulnerable ship to be hijacked, right? So the main
So
thing
they
is,
come to see whether you are
if you
armed or not, or you can
are
defend
not, what
yourself or not.
precautions you're taken. We have put barbed wires on the railings, we have put some water jets, we are, on high alert. They can see some people on on high alert patrolling, so they know they have armed guards. We sometimes show the weapons to say that we're armed and we will shoot if required, right? So that time, they also see, they want an easy prey. They don't want to do all this circus, right? They want to get one, whoever is they're getting, and go home, make some money there, right? And if they see that these guys are, they're going to give us a tough time, then okay, leave you. There's one more guy, easy one coming. I will go for that, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
such moments are very stressful, because if something happens, if they fire, they really don't care, right? They don't have a family, or if they have, really, they don't care. But you're not thinking that. You're thinking, okay, what if somebody dies on the ship, if they're hurt, they bored, and you're also seeing, you have to take all those logistics into account, like how you saw in Captain Philip, right? And you saw that it's not just you, but there are so many other people working on the ship, whom you have to also make sure that they are not harmed and injured, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
it comes down to those 4 or 5 days of extreme high stress voyages, where you're there. Though the navals, the armed navy, that is the Indian Navy and the other navies, are there, who are to help you in case something happens. But once they hijack a ship and hold hostage, then it is very difficult even for them to do anything, right? They can probably chase it away when you're not yet boarded, but once it's boarded, it's very difficult to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
do that.
So you have never, luckily, you have never
Yeah,
experienced this like
we
this.
had those, like I said, we had those pirate boats coming, not boarding the ship, but coming close from what is known as a mother vessel. They have a mother vessel from which all these small skiffs, they're called these boats, high-speed boats. They come closer to see how you are. Once you show that you're not going to back down, you're going to give them back, then they move away, right? But still, you don't know what they're thinking. Maybe they haven't had anybody for a long time, they've not been able to hijack, and then you're going into one hell of a encounter with these guys.
Oh, that's scary. That's scary. So what you're saying is, there it's like a beehive that is waiting for them in
Yeah,
that, and the bees are coming out and just checking, is
yeah,
this the right prey? If
yeah.
yes, let's go for it. If no, let's go back.
Yeah. So when
Or
you're walking through, you're just hoping that they don't sting you, because if they, then you are ready to attack and ready to do whatever, counter their things. But it's a it's a stressful situation for everybody, right?
I'm sure.
Because all said and done, talking here is something when you're just there, you're on high alert. Your entire body, entire system is high alert. You're not sleeping because you're getting constant updates every hour from the team, what's happening. Even if at night, every 2 hours, you're telling it's all good, nothing's there, nothing's sighted. We're cutting through. So you're really not even sleeping, resting. You're just on high alert throughout this voyages.
Okay. And merchant navies, I mean, these cargo ships are generally privately held, so there are guards to it, and they take
We do take
precautions
in
to it.
guards from the people who have earlier served in the Indian Navy, or and who come on board and who have license for this. I mean, this because during the Somali pirate, which was in the peak, there were people who got licenses to act as guards on ships, so they would come on board and things like that. Yeah, but even then, there have been mishap, there have been attacks, all sorts of things have happened. People have lost lives, different ships hijacked. There was a ship which got hijacked for a year, entire crew held for 1 year,
Was
and
there an Indian ship? I mean,
Indian
in
ship,
Indian.
yes, Indian ship. No, I can't remember the name, but there was an Indian crew, not Indian ship, but it was Indian crew
Crew
manned
on
ship.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a difficult thing. I knew one of them back there inside that ship. So it was a hell of an experience to stay away from family, locked up for a year. Very traumatic experience for all of them.
Oh, so they shared their stories. They must have shared their stories.
Yeah, it is there. It is quite a thing. So yeah, let alone the storms, the piracy is a man-made threat, which also adds to this whole thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I was kind of reading through it, and now the numbers are dipping, but in between the numbers were so high, they were kind of making their own GDP through just
Yeah.
kidnapping and extortion and all these kind of things.
I mean, there were
Yeah.
stories that the pirates were the most eligible bachelors in Somalia.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one has to wonder that they had a good breakfast not to attack on a ship. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
They had a good payout, good salary from hijacking the ships, and
yeah. A proper
the most
PF deduction, and the
most sought after guys. So
yeah,
today, that's why they say, improve the economy of the country. So there's guys don't have to do all these kind of jobs, and nobody wants to do this, right? Why will anybody want to get killed, right?
yeah.
Everybody wants to live well and live a safe life, and that's the human nature. So if you can give that to a people or the country, they will not do all this nonsense stuff.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's very straightforward. Um, the pirates thing was, yes, of course, it was kind of in my checklist that I had to
To ask.
know about them. How does that work? And luckily, you haven't experienced this, so yeah, it's good. Let's talk about few myths. We'll of course come down to your current position and how you are trying to add value to the education industry, that too in the skill development part of it, and what's the ultimate goal with that. But when my team was doing a lot of research about merchant navy, they kind of found a lot of. And now they didn't tell me whether these are facts or myths. They just wanted me to confirm it from the person who's experienced them maybe firsthand. So the first question is, we've heard that if a man, from the convoy fell overboard, the ship is not allowed to turn back. I mean, if you can get that person right there and right there, that's okay. But if not, you're not allowed to turn back, and you have to leave that person right there. How does that work?
No, it doesn't work. It's a false. It's a myth.
Okay, it's a myth.
Clearly a myth. Yeah, you can't leave. You're going to do the search. Sometimes it may take a couple of days, where you have to search for that individual, or until you are clear that you can't find him, then only you abandon your own crewmate.
Okay, okay. So that's a myth, guys. That's not true for my team.
Yeah. And not only that, you have to help out anybody out there who sends an SOS, who sends some things, right, to help out. There are a lot of ships plying in this waters. We just don't know. Sometimes you can't even see, but they are there, moving about. So your first duty is to save lives if requested. If there is an SOS, as it's called, save our souls. If that message comes to you, then you're supposed to go out, proceed there, and help them.
There
That's
must
an
be some backup ships or the coast guards that are there around.
Coast Guards also there, they do help, but in the high seas, as it's called. Coast Guard can be in the coast and around that region, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but in the high seas, merchant ships are the ones which are capable of doing that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, another. I am sure this is a myth, but let me confirm it. If the ship sinks and the people aboard survives, they were no longer liable to be paid. I mean, company is no longer liable to pay them anything. Is that the case?
No, that is not the case, because it is an adventure, maritime adventure as it's called, right? So you are not, even though the ship is not part of, you're not part of the thing, you're still obligated by contract, right? That to pay them till they are safely back home, till that day. Not just back from the sea to some port, from that port to going back home, whichever their hometown is, they are liable to be paid till then.
Okay, another myth, team. What are you doing? Okay, this is true, I believe. Seafarers earn a lot of money. They high. It's a high-paying job.
In a way, there is no free lunch, in the sense, if you're getting paid, nobody is going to pay you just like that.
Yeah.
Right? First thing, there has to be a certain risk. That means you're putting a risk to your life. Okay. Then there is the added stress of you're working in a very dangerous environment. People lose their eyes, hands, limbs, lives, right? Because, like I said, we are maybe having a meeting here, and if there's a storm, we are probably still rolling, probably holding our thing railing and still having our meeting. We cannot say, oh, it's a storm, is it? Let's take a holiday and let's, go to sleep. We're still doing our work, right?
Okay. Okay. I've also heard there are in emergency there are some containers in which naval commanders or even I mean the naval people, the merchant navy people can stay there, make themselves safe until the things get settled and everything is okay. Or you are just on your toes even when the things are just going haywire.
You're on your toes even when things are going haywire.
Yeah. So even if it's a fact that you are getting paid, the navy merchants are getting paid, but there's a high ROI to it that the organization is
I
asking
think
for.
because otherwise, one, you need to get, see, it depends. It's any, like any kind of a job. Like if you pay low, you get low quality people, right? You're like, why would somebody high caliber want to join, right? Second is, like I said, all the risks that are associated with it, right? Third thing is, when you average it out, because it's not like, except for a couple of companies, if you average it out, you're not getting paid when you're off. You're on contract, right? So if you, even if you work for 6-7 months in a year, say 4-5 months you're off, you're not getting paid at that. When you go get back to the ship, you're getting paid again. So when you average it out over a year, it's a fairly decent amount. I won't say it high as how it looks, but it is a decent, tidy amount. But is
Okay.
it excessive? Clearly not, because of the dangers that you put yourself into.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I guess we rule this out. If you're there on seas for 6 months and not for 6 months, then
Yeah.
you're kind of actively getting
Half.
paid for 6 months,
You're
half,
paying 50% then. You're getting paid
paying
50%.
50%. Yeah, and averaging it out, it becomes normal.
Normal. Absolutely true.
That's
Okay.
again a myth. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not true. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so now speaking of what this whole journey, whole ups and downs, and I really mean ups and downs, these unforgettable experiences brings a lot of skills to you. One such thing that I can immediately think of is leadership skills. You have to make sure that people are on their toes, even when, as I said, the things are just rolling down literally.
Mm.
And you were the captain yourself. What were the things that help you keep men on their toes, even in such situations?
Mm. I personally think that integrity and character are extremely crucial for good leadership, right? And what I mean is, whether my own mentors and bosses who were captains who I served with, the ones who could command the best, the ones who had the highest respect of this, of his crew and officers, were the ones who themselves showed that they would do the very thing that they're asking you to do, right? And they would, be involved, not only making sure that it's not an unreasonable request, that this is something that we need to do for the safety, and they're concerned about the people. At the same time, making sure that we are doing our job, what is supposed to be done, right? And they are doing this through themselves. They are showcasing it themselves, that when there's a storm, the captain is on the bridge, making sure everything is going smooth, or when there is some issue, accident, captain is what is called the bridge or the navigating, command center as it's called. And they are there and making sure everything is smooth till it ends. Not like, oh, that's a problem, just solve it, guys. Come back, right? So as a captain, the people who have done the best kind of leaderships are the ones who have shown it themselves. Lead by example, I could say, right? That's the word I was looking for, lead by example. And that kind of inspires the rest of the people to also follow. It's easier than to give out the orders, right? Because then it's easier for them to follow because, hey, captain is doing, take care, we'll also do it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
because if you have to ask my crew, if I have to tell them, hey, you know what, there is some water coming in at the forecastle, as it's called, the front of the ship. There is maybe some door which is open. There's a storm already happening. Maybe the door got opened. Something broke. Can you guys go check that? And maybe we secure, because this water floods in, then we can have a calamity. We can lose the ship. The ship can break into two, right? So then these guys have to go there, trusting my judgment that I'm taking care, that I'm altering the ship such that they face the least wind during that inspection time for that half an hour, 1 hour, go check and come back safely. And once they come back safely, then we say, you know what, let's resume on our original voyage. So you've altered that ship. In spite of it, it'll be quite, strong winds, waves coming in spite of making the alteration just to shelter them from the winds, right? And once they come back inside saying that, yes, we have done the job, all good, take care, great guys, great work, close, make sure everything closed, batten down, and then we start heading back again, continuing onwards through the storm.
It must be very hard. I mean, of course, when you say that, integrity and doing preach what you practice, that's what you said. So when you give a command and they have their trust in you, how do you keep yourself upright in situations such as that? And I'm sure this is going to help a lot of individuals who are working on land. The high tension, the high pressure that we are, this is nothing compared to you. So how do you make sure that you keep yourself upright in such situations?
So it comes down to what I call, you need to do things not for others, in the sense, right? There will always be people who may not value what you're valuing, or you may have a certain things that you like to stick to, right? And we are always constantly thinking of how we can fit in or how we can please others. So it's to build the courage, and usually courage happens when we see other inspiring people, right? It's not just one, it can happen internally. You have some internal change that happens, you reached a point where you want to break free and you become that, or you rub shoulders with such inspiring people, right? Surround yourself with such inspiring people. Find people. That's why they say you are what you can say, a collective of 5 to 6 people you hang out with, right? And in that, even if there is one inspiring person, two inspiring person, their qualities will rub onto you. And then it's very easy to imbibe.
That makes sense. Sense.
Because I can see, I mean, just even if without putting effort, I can easily think of some 40, 50 people who have sailed with me, who I look up to as inspiring people, who I take inspiration from, right? Without even, if I put effort, probably I'll get 100 people at least. And so that is the people, their ethics, how they would do their job, making sure, let's say, hey, guys, do this job, finish this and come. The kind of dedication to make sure that's done well, right? So there is no need to wonder, is he done it properly or what is it, right? Because there is a risk involved. We don't have time to check again 2 times, 3 times. So that kind of integrity, then it spills over everywhere, top down.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do that work. So leadership, I think, is a top down, fortunately or unfortunately. And I've seen great organization, great ships, where how the captain is and how they steer the entire team and organization trickle downs to everybody down, right up to the last crew. right? Similarly, a bad leader, you have the entire thing bad all the way. It's not going to open. That's another beautiful thing is once you set a good, you can say a system or a place. Let's say there's one great captain or great leader in a company, okay, and he or she sets up a good process, precedent, leadership, integrity, and everybody is working great. Okay, now even if a bad leader comes now, it's not going to overnight change. But assuming the bad leader stays for a long, long time, okay, this will start to crack. Okay. And let's say another leader comes after that. He is going to get the blame that the whole team is in shambles. But it was not his fault, the third person's fault. It was the second person's fault who didn't steer it well. Right? Is the last one who's left hand holding the mess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah? So it's never, so we blame the last one. Hey, you came after 1 month, see what happened, this problem we came into. I just joined 1 month, this mess has been going on for last few years.
Yeah. And then because of the other two leaders, if there are certain practices that are imbibed in the team, and as you said, it's unfortunately it's top to bottom, then it's very hard for the new leader also to initiate and create new practices or deliver new values. What do you think about it? Does it become more hard for them?
It is hard. It is hard. That's why sometimes you have to let go of people who are coming in the way. The second rung leadership. Let's say a leader comes or business or somewhere, and he realizes because the second rung has now got adjusted to that weaker execution, weaker integrity, right? Because they had a previous boss who was okay with it. Now the new leader comes who's like, hey, this doesn't work anymore, guys, right? The second rung is going to give a lot of resistance, right? Few heads will roll and you clean up the mess. Again, is this leader's time going to see the change? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe the next leader's time, they will reap the benefits of this leader.
Yeah. The immediate name that's coming to my mind is MS Dhoni. I guess everyone thinks of him when we do such discussion about leadership and taking tough decisions, making people unhappy and making nation happy ultimately. So yeah, that makes sense, sir. 20 years of this journey, so much learning, so many experiences. What made you switch to education? And first of all, why education? Why not teaching people how to sail?
Yes, yeah. So that's a good one. I remember, I was the one who said I wanted to sail. Now I'm saying I don't want to sail, right?
Yeah. A lot of mind change in 20 years.
Yeah. So I felt that deep satisfaction reached, when you eat something good food after some time, enough, I've had it, or something like that. It kind of reached that point for me before I made the switch. But even before, why education is somewhere around 2008 or something like that, or 2008, 9. I got one forward from a friend about some funny movie. It is called Idiocracy. It's available on YouTube, 2005 or something like that. And the eye-opening movie, funny, but eye-opening, right? It spoke about the dangers of digital media and how each generation is going to become more stupid than the other, right? And I found it funny, but at the same time, something stirred, that there was a little bit of a prick of a truth in it, right? And it left me, I didn't have any answers. It just left me a little shaken, but I continued with my life, right? And in 2012, around 2012 or something like that, my son, he was around 3 years, 3.5, something like that. And he was not going to school. And he had just gone for 6-7 days in a 6 months school, kindergarten. And my wife was also bothered. What is this? Is he never going to school, or is he going to be like this? I said, don't worry. It's just ABCD. It's not the end of the world, right? There are so many things to learn. Maybe my sailing thing gave me that. That's not the real thing. You learn. You need to build character. Build that. He will be sorted for life. And so that again left me wondering what should be done. At that time, I met a very interesting person who was running this school in Bangalore. And when I visited her, she was in her 70s back then. And when I visited her, I was so impressed with the kind of free play the children had, climbing trees, rolling around, compared to the kind of education that I was used to, or I only knew. I didn't even know anything else existed beyond that. And that was an eye opener. I said, this is what school should be like. You know, this is how it is. Why aren't we having more schools like this? Why are we not having education like this? They said there's so much thing. So that was when it was the door for me. You know, it was the key which opened. And I said, I want to know more about how we can educate kids like this, right? So I would spend a lot of time over the next 3-4 years learning about education, meeting different educators in the country, learning, joining some courses, all sorts of, meeting things. So that gave me clarity, what, we need to change education. And same time, I started seeing in that, I started paying more attention to people around me who are working and everything. And I could see how at sea there is such complexities, right? And I need to have a team which is highly reliable, who I can count on, who I can say that, what, if this job is done, either you tell me it's not done or get it done properly, right? Let it not be half done job, right? So the quality of the crew and the officers I felt was coming down. And I thought I was the unlucky captain who would get such people, right? But I realized that it was not just me. Everybody had the same issue, not just in India, everywhere in the world. People were complaining of people's caliber dipping. And this movie that I spoke about was making sense to me. The education that came, I thought was the answer to such thing, was all adding up, right? Then I said, if nobody is going to do something about it, then it's time that I do something about it, right?
So if you can deep dive into this world, caliber dipping down, if you can just go deeper into it.
Yeah. So caliber dipping down in the sense that there is no reliability. Reliability in the sense, like if somebody says, hey, I'm going to call you today for a meeting, right? Or I'm going to come and visit the office. There is no guarantee that they will come or show up, right? There's no guarantee. We use words very loosely. Another thing that you spoke about, leadership. Leadership is about keeping your word, whatever it was. Does not matter. You said, I'm going to turn up here, then you turn up there, right? You say, I'm going to get this done, then get it done for the crew, right? Leadership is about keeping your word. That is also part of the character, right? Whatever. It could be a good thing or bad thing, is a material of judgment. So now the reliability is going down. Can't rely, okay? Courage is going down. People don't speak up and tell what they're thinking, right? When we were youngsters, not just me, I'm saying people all around at that time would speak up to a boss, sir, maybe this is wrong, let's try something else. The boss also was more think, okay, yeah, I think, guys, I think maybe we are thinking, let's rethink this plan again. Let's rethink our voyage plan, right? So that kind of speaking up also, people were like disinterested. Just, okay, you tell me, sir, whatever I will do. Right? What is your own opinion, man? Tell me that, right? You need a team to run, right? So that kind of caliber I'm talking. Second thing is the reverence or an interest to safeguard things, to take care of things, right? It should not be, but ye to mera saman nahi hai. I mean, I don't have to take care of it. Doesn't matter whosoever it is, right? Somebody's property, somebody's thing. Why not take care of those? Why not?
Oh, why should I care? It's not mine. That kind of attitude.
So same kind of lethargy or disinterest comes in everything, whether it's the environment, whether it's education. It's like mera theek hai, mera chal raha hai, chalega, So this kind of reverence is not there. You see, old timers, especially, I would interview a lot of this pre-independent, men and women, just because I was very curious the work that I'm doing. How was it there? Why are they like that? Why are they cut from a different cloth? Why are the people after something else? What did they do right and something? What happened? Where was this thing? So there I would see that the kind of things that they would do, when you go and say something, yes, I'm going to do this is getting done. They have a certain reverence for things. It could be a simple, maybe, let's say an old captain, I'm talking, maybe he's got a binocular, very old. He will take care of it like as if it's some precious stone or something, right? Today it's like, अरे binocular तो नया मिल जाएगा Amazon में, So we don't have that reverence for anything. And that in turn, I realized, also acts as a lack of respect for human beings. First, it starts with things, then it goes on to human beings. We are like, okay, he's not okay. Let's leave this friend, leave this human, we'll get somebody else. What can you do to fix him?
That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I guess when you speak of it this now, I can recall that I see this everywhere. I see this in myself also, I guess. This is not working, forget it. Or I can't find it. Who will find it again? Let's just buy new. And then after 2 months, you'll find it somewhere in your closet.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're very
So
right.
we have gone from a reverence culture to a replacement culture, right? Something is not working, before any gadget not working, we had somebody to repair it and we would use it probably another 5-6 years. Today, nahi, sir, isko or be expensive to repair, throw this, get another one, right? What's happening to our health? Same thing. A wall not working, put one stent here, put one health here, right? So we are doing the same for everything around our lives, relationships, for things, for people, friends, employees. We are not investing anything anywhere, right? We want already perfect, little bit kharab hai, 5% kharab hai, chodo, next one. See what you can do to fix it. Most of the time, you just need to do that. Of course, I'm not saying don't let go, but see what you could do.
I'm kind of feeling that you kind of showed me a mirror in front of me, because I guess this is what I can see in myself, in my subordinates, peers, juniors. Everyone is going on the same track that you are, telling and sharing. So yeah, that's about the term that you were using. Now, please carry on, sir. You're finishing.
So I lost the context of the question.
So yeah, what I was kind of asked you was Navy, from Navy to education. You see,
Okay.
this must have been there must have been a good reason to do so.
Yeah.
And now when you're sharing your
So
reason,
yeah. So these kind of things that I saw, and people I felt were like settling in, look at mediocre. I also say mediocre because I always ask, is this the best you could have done? If not, then that is mediocre for me, right? So I'm not saying everything we do perfect, but at least few essential things can we do to good quality, right? So that also was a dip. Okay, like I can see, like what I say, like assuming a new cadet has come and we ask him, what, clean this deck, or clean this, mop this deck, clean this table, or anything like that. It's about doing it really good, world class levels, right? But this is the table, like kya chalega? No, it's the attitude. Once you bring at what you do, one thing is how you do everything in life, right? So that is the transference which happens. So mediocrity was on the rise. We don't, we are okay with, chalega, go to a restaurant. Many of them are just mediocre service, right? And sometimes we are so happy that he's giving at least mediocre service, because the other option is worse than mediocre, right? So we have settled down to mediocre is the new normal. So how to up this game? Why are people becoming like that? What can we do to say that, nay, this is not okay? Give me good stuff. Right? What happens to Steve Jobs? Why do Apple, in spite of Steve Jobs not being there, like I told about leadership, right? How the residual effect can run for years. Why is Apple product so good? Because of the excellence, not mediocre, right? But it takes effort to put that right. And it's easy to do that. It's actually easier to be high performer because your work actually becomes less. You might think you're investing a lot of time, right? But it pays off in the long run. Low quality actually is repetitive. It'll ask your time more and more, again and again.
mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense. Education itself, so then you think, when you boil down, when you come to education, you can fix all these problems and contribute, to your level. before we talk about the thing that you are doing or trying to do, the exact practices, do you think social media, the short content, all of this is building up in making people less of what they should be?
Yeah.
Like less time, attention span,
Yeah.
uh, people being in hurry, that if in 10 seconds this ad is not running, I'll buy YouTube. If there are 30-second ad, I can't wait for it. I remember, I'm not that old, but we all remember we had Walkmans and Discmans and all of that. We used to go stand in lines and buy something and then just put it there. And the that thing go used to get stuck, and then we used to repair it and then use it
Correct.
again. But
Yeah.
now 5 seconds seems like
Long.
eternity. it
Mm.
it is too much for me also. Do you
Yeah.
think it is also adding up to the problem?
Absolutely. I think it's one of the, in my view, one of the biggest problem, right? And like I said, the movie Idiocracy was fun and at the same time thought provoking. And then I started reading up more and seeing, observing, like how earlier, like if you see any movie or anything like that, there, if count the time between one shot and a cut and another one, it's around 6 seconds. Okay. Now you watch, it's come down to 4 seconds on an average.
The
Okay.
cut from a scene to scene.
Scene to scene, scene to scene, 4 seconds, right? So you're like 4 second is, and then a new picture, 4 second, new picture, new picture, new picture, right? Or a serial, you watch a Netflix serial, nothing is longer than 6 seconds because that, and they're trying to reduce it further and further, right? So what you practice, you become good at it. If you keep practicing short attention span, then you'll be very good and expert at short attention span, right? So what happened? You're doing this days after days, practicing short attention span, 5 second, 5 second, 5 second. Now, if you give you 6 seconds or 10 seconds, you're like, oh my God, 10 seconds, you want me to sit watching this clip? It's too much, right? And then we have all sorts of other disorders that come up with it, right? And then we go into therapy, get all sorts of curative education, unnecessary it was. So in a way, it is our ability. See, we can't control the world, at least to not the extent we can. We can only see how we can control ourselves. What power do I have to say, okay, see, those guys are going to do 5 seconds, 6 seconds. I can't stop them. They are trying to hack into my system, my brain. What can I do now to stop that? Right? What is my counter move, like a chess move, right? And play the game accordingly.
Yeah, yeah. So you think skill development or education, and then sub part of it, skill development, can play a very pivotal role in solving a lot of issues that you yourself have faced? And if so, how do you think it can do it?
Yeah. So my own, this journey of education and other things that led me to the thing that more than skills, what you required below that skill is will. Will before skill. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the will and you've got a strong will to get things done, to stop things that you don't want to do, will is required for both to overcome procrastination and to stop our impulsive behavior. Right? So once you build good, strong will to get things done, on top of this foundation, you can layer any skill. Example, let's say a person wants to learn music. Okay. There is the best music teacher in the world who's ready to teach this boy or girl, right? And so there's no dearth of the talent. I mean, it's there, and he's got some natural potential. But this child or adult doesn't go to the classes on time, doesn't go regularly to the classes. Why? There is no will, right? If the will is there, what, push through, get it. I don't like it. We allow our feelings to override us most of the time. Today, we're living in a society where we have been said so much that, if your feeling says don't do it, don't do it. If your feeling says do it, do it. You're like a wind getting swayed. The wind is controlling the ship. The tail is wagging the dog. So when you build your will, you'll not have such kind of issues. And then when you bring whatever skill, you want to be a cricketer, this musician, this, that, does not matter, build your body, you will be able to do it that much easy. All then you need is techniques and tools, and the mentor, skill will be built. But now nobody is focusing on the will. How to build will. Yes, okay. Even if I tell, okay, build will, everybody says, yes, what you're saying is true. Now, the second question is, how do you build will? Right? So, coming back to this, building the will is something that means that you are the master of your body. That's what will means. That means if I say tomorrow I'm coming to this meeting there, I do it. That is will. It takes a will to do it. If I say I'm going to quit smoking, it takes will to do it. If I want to quit drinking, it takes will to do it. If I say I'm getting this presentation done and sent to you, it takes a will to do. My feelings may say, you know what? Oh, I don't feel like you're doing today. I know my feelings will say, but where is your will to get it done? I may do a shoddy job because I don't have the skill of making a great presentation. For that, I need skill. Okay. But first is the will. And on top of that, if I give good skills, good presentation skills, then I can be the expert. So I always say everywhere people should focus on building the will as the foundation. And my own research and my own experience shows that it is best built in the early years of childhood. Okay. Of course, if somebody misses the boat, then what? You can still build later, not as great as this, but still you can do something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So will before skill. That's how you're putting it.
Yeah.
Early childhood development. When we were talking before this podcast, you kind of told me about a very innovative thing. I would want you to share that stargazing without binoculars and without telescopes.
Yeah.
What is that, and how does it add value for the student who's practicing this? What's the reason behind it?
Okay. So, like for sailors, it was normal that you start using the stars to find your way. And of course, though now there's GPS and everything, it was at least during my time a skill that was taught. How do you identify stars? How do you use them to find where you are? Okay. And even though we had GPSs, we were told that don't lose this art, don't lose this skill, right? And so, of course, there was little maths involved, but there was some techniques involved, and we would use all of that. So when I started working in educational realm with schools and other things, one of the schools early on when I started off my venture, I had gone to this place and to conduct a stargazing workshop. And all the children were very excited that I'm going to come. My ship captain was going to come, and they were all looking forward to it. And I was going to do, and they all came and said, "Oh, the children said, we're all looking forward. We're about stargazing. Can you do it?" I said, "Yeah, we'll start." So they said, come, then come. Okay. They all took me. I said, "Where?" No, they said, come, we'll take you. And I went through some here and there, left, right, and other places in the thing. We went into a classroom. I said, "What is this?" "We have a board and everything. Why don't you do this stargazing here?" I said, "Stargazing here?" "No, we are doing stargazing in the outside." Okay. But that gave me a thing that how much they are used to having everything in a classroom, in a class board. The entire education is unraveling there when the real education is happening outside. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, let's go outside. It's okay even if we learn less, but let's do the real education. Let's go and learn in the actual life. Right? So then they came out and we did some activities there. I told them, "Okay, guys, lie down, get some mats or get some, carpets, and let's put them and let's lie down and watch the sky." I said, "Don't watch." I said, "Don't learn. Just first watch the sky. See what you can learn, what you can absorb. Don't worry about the technical names. All that you learn, it's not a big deal, right? First learn, just observe the sky because it builds the capacity to observe, right? And that's something like if you tell something, you want to organize something, what is the skill that we need to know how to observe so we can use that in our life? Even to whether in business sense also, if you want to observe trends, what is happening, where you want your products to be launched, you have to observe what's happening in the markets. You have to observe it's all an observation skill. Observe with your senses. So look at the sky, hey, this star. And that's the first time they realized that the sky was actually turning.
I mean, they kind of looked at it moving this way.
Moving. They could see the stars. I told them, look at the sky, look at the stars. Where was this star? Now where is it? Oh my God, it has changed. I said, do you believe the earth is turning now? He said, yes, earth is turning. You know?
That was that Eureka moment for them. Oh,
Yeah.
it's turning. Finally, we saw
Until
it.
then, they've been told earth is turning. So great. Somebody has told, we believe it. Now it's like they've seen it on their own eyes. The earth is turning. Or sky is at least turning. You know, even if you're an old timer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Something is turning. It's not there at the same place. Right?
Okay.
So those are the observation skills. Then you start looking at things like that. Then what about this star and that star? Oh my God, yeah. Yesterday I also saw this star here. This is there. Now you start remembering. Your memory starts to build. You build your creativity. You make images in the sky. So you build imagination. Very vital. Today we're talking about imagination as one of the 21st century skill, which WHO recommends. Right? How do you build imagination? Different ways. The sky is the ultimate master of imagination, right? It's such vastness. Even the earth is nothing compared to the entire vastness of the sky. And we are not utilizing its education. You're not utilizing the wealth of experiences it can give us in building so many capacities. So what is education? Building capacities. It's like building roads in a city. Education is about building capacities. What the children do is for them to decide.
Mm-hmm.
Right? One highway going this way for creativity, one highway building will strength, one highway building their confidence, all these highways. Now they may use it to become a merchant navy officer, become this businessman. That is up to them. There we try to control actually. Instead of building highways, we keep telling them you become a doctor, you become this engineer, that engineer. Right? Let them decide that you only build highways and give. It's like the government telling which business should come on this highway. You just build highways and give us, we will decide which business. The business only will flop or new business will come, which is successful.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense. So this is for students. When you said this is for students, the motto behind this is observation
And
for them, which will and
imagination
imagination, which will
and
further build
outdoor skill quotient, what I call outdoor skill quotient, right?
outdoor skill quotient.
Outdoor skills quotient. That means
Okay.
if you're thrown in an island or thrown somewhere, can you at least find out your time? Can you tell me the time watching the sky? Can you tell me the direction watching the sky? Can you identify some things watching the sky? Can you tell the seasons just by observing the sky, even if you don't have any calendar, nothing? Can you tell me, okay, what is happening with the sky? Where is the planet? Get to know your sky. We are living under its roof, but we still we're not even know the basic stuff. So when we get into binoculars and telescopes too early, what happens? We are little bit in awe. Wow, we need a binocular telescope. And next time, if I tell them to stargate, they're like, but I don't have a telescope at home. I don't have a binocular. I said, forget that binocular telescope. First, do this. This only will take 3 years to master. And if I give you a binocular, you can spend your life also, or let's say another 3-4 years to master, because so many stars open up. Then you get into the telescope. What happens then when you build the fire? I call it building the fire, right? When you start a bonfire, you don't put big fat woods and start with the fire, right? I mean, traditionally, if you start, you'll start with small, then it catches fire, then put some more wood, catches fire, then you put the big logs. Telescope is like that, big logs, right? You'll get wow, such a big log, it looks fantastic, but where is the small fire? You will not sustain it. It will become a dust collecting machine afterwards.
Yeah.
So that is how education, or not, this is an example I'm giving you, stargazing, right? This is how it should be for every form of education. You have to identify what is the spark and go in the step. That is actually as simple as that, education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Each topic will have its own spark, right? But the log will always look more proper. It look film like, it'll be like, wow, that's like looking bonfire. This chotu little sticks you put, that's not bonfire. Yeah, but that's how you start.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. If we build it up, I mean, first per se, this is about students, and then we go to secondary education and the university levels, and then the individuals such as myself, they're working in corporates. Skill development are required for them also. Maybe we lost a lot of things. We had a lot of things and we lost, and then we keep on losing things and we don't really realize it. That's how it is. how do you think they can keep sustaining their skills, or how do you do it for them? Are there different approaches for a student, for a young student, for a teenager, and then for someone who's 20 above, 22 above?
Yeah. So what I call, like, in a way, in the early years of training, okay, I'll take the ship example, then I'll come to this. Yeah.
Sure.
Like, if there's a young cadet, just joined, doesn't know anything much, similar to students, right? Young students, I'm talking. And they're the kind of mentoring they require and they thrive on is more firm. That means, guys, go there, go to the left side, there is a door, open that, do this job, switch on this, switch on that, blah, 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 come back. Very instruction, very firm, right? Not, that doesn't mean harsh or shouting, but firm leadership or firm mentoring, right? But and as they come to the next level, let's say a junior officer level, or a high school level, or a junior college level, there the thing is about a little more freedom. Let's say which one you want to go in the left or right side, which side you want to go, right? Well, little more freedom is there. That means there is structure. The structure was more stronger there, more binding. The boxes are small. Now the boxes have become bigger in the
Mm-hmm.
pre. So your mentoring style and the way they should study, you'll have little more room,
Mm-hmm.
right? On the subjects or within subjects, what to research and other things like that. At corporate level, where you already finished college or very high education, higher level education, they allow them to even create that structure for them. So what exactly do I feel I'm missing it? What should I study on? So there you're mentoring or negotiate, telling them on a dialoguing. What do you think you want to? Okay, no, I feel like my confidence is low. I need to work on this. You're telling me communication, but that I'll sort out. You just give me confidence first, or vis-a-vis communication. So they are party to the whole dialoguing of what they should learn. Initial years, no dialoguing, instructional. You tell them, you first learn communication, then you learn confidence. Why? Does not matter. When you're older, you figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that I found, this kind of having some structure helps students to learn better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it's not everything is about freedom of choice. Some structure gives us a little stability, gives a little structure. What it removes anxiety from us, it reduces stress, right? Because you have a certain framework. Why do people in anywhere, whether armed forces or merchant navy? Because there are so many drills that are conducted for so many such events, fire, piracy, what happens. We are doing so many drills. It's not like we just know it. We are part of drills. We repeat it and repeat it till such a time that when such an incident happens, we can manage our stress and come out of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Fire also same thing. So what we are trying to do is give that structure for younger kids. As they're growing up, you're removing the structure, dismantling it, so they can create for themselves what they want. What we do ulta, we give a lot of freedom. You do whatever you like in the early years. And when they come to the top, we put a lot of boxes and say, okay, you work within, you do only this. We are actually doing the complete opposite style.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is the guidance that you should do this is right, this is wrong, not just letting them that, you know, it's just a young chap. Let's just not,
Let him.
let him do what he
That's not
wants to
how
do.
what we actually want is, we think that will build creativity, that will build imagination. If he only chooses, oh, you see, my son is choosing, daughter is, no, it's actually going to be detrimental in the long run.
But maybe, Captain, do you think it might work for some, but a for a major audience, that doesn't work? So we just see all few of the success stories and think that, this will happen with us.
Like what I say is, boundaries have to be set. One of the biggest issues I've noticed is boundaries, how to establish boundaries, right? In relationship, human relationships, is whether it's romantic relationship, colleague relationship, boss to anything. It's about our boundaries,
Yeah.
right? This is what is okay, this is not okay. So they need to see that before they start using that power,
Mm-hmm.
right? Again, I will take an example from navigation, right? If a young officer or a young officer is there and he has to navigate, he's given very clear instruction that when you navigate, this is the distance you will pass other ships. This is what you will do. This is what you will do. There's nothing there for him or her to, what you can say, have room. What is good for the ship, right? He can ask questions and say, why like this? Why are you not going? Well, yeah, this is what it is, right? But follow the instruction. As they're coming higher in the rank, they get a little more freedom because now you have seen so much of situations, you know exactly what will be the consequences of certain things, right? And second thing is, when they are young officers like that, that kind of structure gives them, it actually eases the stress because they don't have to think, what should I do in this complex situation? I just know I have to follow this, what the captain has told. If I can't follow, I call it. Right? Coming back to the students. When students are given, you know, guys, when you come to learn music with me. Okay. First follow this, this, and this. First follow, tune the instrument. First do this, first do that. First practice something before we actually go into the song. Okay. Now, if I give that student a lot of freedom and say, no, you do what you want to play song first, you play song first, tuning you can do at the end, your wish, right? So what happens is, then the kind of quality that the student would like he will not get that kind of skill set. Second, it will give him or her a wrong things of what it takes to become that expert, right? So in the initial years, you just follow the leader, right? You follow what it is. And at the end, once you become a master, once you become a real thing, you can actually throw the rule book away and create your own rule book. And say, this is total thing, I don't think it works. But you have to earn that right. That's the beauty of this. Right? That is how new skills and new talent is built. First you follow, then you break it, and then you create a new. Follow, break, create. Not get into the creation process too early. That's why if you see, I mean, not a religious way, but in a, like you have this Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, where creation is, somebody is taking care of the creation part. Somebody is taking care of the maintenance part. Somebody is taking destroy. So it's a continuous process, right? So same thing here. Allow the process which has been done for millennia to go through. You will learn more and more. Humanity has grown so much, leaps and bounds. Go with that structure.
Things are making great sense, Captain. Before the session started, I was kind of talking to my team about a TEDx that my team watched of yours. Kudos to you, first of all, for that. It was released a day before. It's a great speech. You were talking about how you learn from nature and what is there to learn from nature. Now maybe I'm derooting from the conversation, but I'm trying to bring the nature's relevance because you have been there for so long that you can bring that relevance into the realm of education and then maybe correlate them towards. So one of your statement was that if there's a river going on, and if there is a forest in front of it, do you think it will go back? No, it will just make its way and then try to go, I mean, find its way, basically. That was the bottom line of it. So what you say as right now, I guess it is that. So you create first. I mean, you give your parents give you the guidance, or the people who are senior to you give guidance. You learn how to do it, and then you maybe break it, as you said, and then you create it. So to create it, you have to have so much experience in you that this is wrong, maybe this is right. So that at least your probability of doing something wrong is not there. If I hope I'm putting it right way.
So you're expanding in the box, like the box was given to you, right? You expanded the box and realized, you know what, this finger need not be there. I need to make a little new box, right? And that's how you build on humanity. You stand on shoulders of others, and you, right? And not like an independent. Nobody grows like that. You always stand on somebody's shoulder and you grow.
Right? Yeah, which is okay.
Okay, that is how everybody grows. I have learned so many from people, and now some people stand on me and they grow, and somebody will stand on them and they will grow.
Yeah, like I am kind of virtually standing on you and learning a lot of things from you today.
Thank you so much. Yeah. In
uh,
fact, there's a nice thing about, I like to add, like a good example that I came across was in the talk, I talk about the burning desire, the first one. Second, I talk about the pursued relentless action. And third, I take about path of least resistance. Okay. So least resistance does not mean because we are lazy or scared, but simply because you've been trying and trying, not working, then some opportunity comes. Okay. I like to share an example actually. When Mr. Ratan Tata, he wanted to set up the Nano, in West Bengal, right? That's his ambition, that he wants to set up this Nano and make it more affordable cars. That's the burning desire, right? Relentless action. Went, got those licenses set up. And what happened? Then the government didn't allow that. So next option was he could keep beating it, keep trying for the next few years, or give up on the Nano project, the two options, right? Then another government opened up their doors, Gujarat, right? So he took the path of least resistance to set up the plant there, right? Just like the river. So the same thing, it can happen. In fact, another story to share is a good friend of mine. He runs this school rather, he wants to run the school in Zambia. And there he wanted to set up like a tribal school for people, right? And so that involved getting a lot of permission from the tribal chieftains and all the stuff. And it was taking time to set up all that. They need permission. The tribal chief has to say okay. And I asked him what's happening. After a few months, I spoke. He said, no, it's not happening. There, a lot of resistance, this, that. There's one more guy close to where I stay, and he's giving that land, but I'm yet to take it. I said, you're pursuing something and you reached a dead end. The one you want is not willing to give the land for your school. And there is one who's ready to give land to your school. Why are you not taking that path? It will get you to your goal very quickly, right? So that's why I say sometimes people get stuck to their path instead of their goal. Your goal was a school in the tribals, not exactly a school with that tribe, right?
Yeah.
So once we are clear what is it that we want, then take the path. There is one who's readily come to your doorstep saying, I will give you the place to set up the school in my tribe. And you're saying that I want that tribe only. Then it was like, oh my God, yes, I don't know why I've been hell-bent on having it there only, and I'm not looking at an opportunity is right next to my door.
That makes sense. That makes sense. The path of least resistance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This itself seems like an education session for me, and I hope for my viewers as well. This has been a great session so far. I had so many questions. I guess I delivered all of them, and in the middle, you kind of shaked me when you kind of showed me a mirror while you were sharing the things that you're experiencing with new generation. Uh, I think we left the skill development part, the impact of skill development in a holistic manner. And because you're working on ground zero, your organization is working on ground zero. How are you adding value? And what's the pre and the post practice looks like? If you can put it in words for us.
So, like I said, will before skill, right? There are a lot of players who are doing great skill work, whether it is music and vocational services, sports, all are doing. And all of them, when I talk to, have one thing, but they are not consistent. They don't have focus. They procrastinate. What to do about it? I'm willing to teach them. I'm willing to do this, but they don't turn up. 3 days they'll come, 4 days they will bunk, right? Or 2 days. Where is how to solve this? A lot of therapists, coaches, counselors come to me. They're saying, we have given them the best advice what they should do with life. We told them this, they have to do this practice, but they don't do it. And all the answers lead to the same thing. I say, they lack the will. Today, even doctors are struggling with it. They give medication, take this for 20 days, you will take it for 5 days. Why? There is no will even to take medication, your own medication type of things, right? So the root comes back again and again is to build the will. And that's one area that I see, at least I'm not aware of anyone working in that space, what I call the will coach, the will strength. And I believe that by building will, that's the ground force. I'm not working on anything on the top level. There are a lot of masters out there, a lot of good people doing good work. But at the bottom of the pit, where there's real work to push people out of this pit so they can go on leading that life, they need to build that will. And that's what I'm focusing on at the prime level.
Okay. Okay. So through your sessions, through your practices, through your programs, people are kind of willing, they are willing to come to build the will for the skill that they might need in their journey, not just to work, but to live.
Yeah, to live. Yes. Like example to share is a person today. It's very common, right? You have so many health gurus. And in fact, when I look at them, everybody is giving fantastic advice. Why is it not working? Because people are not following. It's got nothing to do with that practice, right? So I have people who have lost 20, 30 kilos. Not that I told them what exercise to do or what food to eat. I just told them, let's focus on building your will. You already know what to eat. Now, I don't have to give you any fresh knowledge of it, right? Let's build your will so you can do that consistently. Your exercises, do that diet practice consistently, because your will is weak. You're caving in. You're not doing that exercise regularly. There's another person who had stopped their studies for PhD. No motivation, no thing. I said, let's build will. I'm not going to teach PhD. I don't know where subject matter, but I'll help you build your will. And that person went on to complete their PhD. Right? Another person is there without job, wasting away time for years, not having that motivation. There is no will, not attending meeting. If you get an interview, not attending. There is no will, attended, then they ended up with a good 30, 40 lakh job after that. Right? So there are so many things you can do once you build your will. Right? You can actually live high quality life. If I have to tell A, do the best work you can, that A needs will. Otherwise, A will do mediocre work or not do the work at all. Okay.
So it's not skill development game for you. It's will development.
Will
I think
development.
that should be the underlining line of your logo of your venture.
I call myself will strength coach. I don't think there's anyone in India who's doing this in this way, at least anywhere else, especially because will is everything. I keep saying. In fact, I can't remember the exact quote in one of the Batman movies, old one, 2003. The Batman's mentor, Batman is losing against him in a fight. Okay, gets beaten in his training days. Okay, he knows all the tricks. He knows how to, all the techniques of martial arts. But still gets beat. Batman asked why. He said, "You don't have the will."
When he was trying to jump off the, came out of the well using the.
I think, and then one more before that, there is one with the. I can't get the name right now, but he tells that. I remember that quote so beautifully. Oh my God, especially it's being in my domain. I said, okay, I should wrote it down. And I have written it in the book also, coincidentally. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We have, I missed that. We have Captain Preetham Madhukar's book, who was, it was the bestseller in its genre. We are going to put the link. I'm very unfortunate. I was supposed to have the privilege to read it, but then couldn't. But I'm going to do that. For our viewers, we are going to pin that in comment or put it in description for all of you. And if you remember the dialogue that sir is missing, please mention it in the comments
Yes, please,
for us, so
because
that
I've
we can
also forgotten. And it would be good. I think it's the second or third chapter, something is there. Yeah, the section.
All right, brilliant, sir. It was a great session for the day. We have learned so many things from you. Your journey from being a student who's interested in comics, and then just found his build his ambition to sail on seas, and then did it. First day, terrific day, and then had so many experiences, leaderships, about skill development, sorry, will development, and why is it required. So all of this is going great for us, and it was a great session. Before we end up, what are the future plans? I mean, where are you heading up to with all of this?
Yeah. So my thing is, how can I help people overcome procrastination, which is a big issue today because it's amplified with the digital media. It's made it. It was always there, but it's become bigger now. It's like magnified. So my programs are in a way helping people overcome that, build will, because skill you will get. A lot of people are there helping, doing good stuff. Go for them. Let us focus on building your will, right? So we have boot camps, we have things, techniques that I have devised, which kind of help people build that, right? And the second thing that is for adults also. This program is for anyone. Then I realized it is so much easier if we can do it for children, right? Instead of waiting they become adult, come with all these issues, and then we work on them. Why not solve the problem at the start itself, the root problem, right? So I have parenting programs where I tell, you know what, take control of this for yourself, because you are the best teacher and mentor at the end of it, right?
Mhm.
No matter which school they go, which teacher, but at the end, you are also a teacher, you are also a mentor, right? So take control of this, create that kind of environment for your child so they can become their best self. So I
Mhm.
conduct this parenting workshops where our parenting programs, longer programs, where parents now are empowered. So they can now work with that child. I say, you don't need me, you just need to know what to do. That's about it.
Okay. Okay. So you tell parent what to do with their kids.
What to do at different ages, what should they focus on building at this age, and when they're 5 6 years old, if they're 8 9 years, what should I focus? When they're 14 years old, what if my child is 18 19, they have this kind of, what should you focus on, so they don't get into this kind of a mess later on, right? Solve it young, so they don't even have to worry about it later on.
That's brilliant. So great vision, great personality, as I said, and quite a journey. Uh, sure, it's going to be longer than you have thought when you started it back in 2016, 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing your journey with us. I really enjoyed this session thoroughly. I hope you also did.
Yes, it was brilliant session. You're a great host, and you're able to take out a lot of things which I may have forgotten, but you have made sure that the stories came out, and hopefully our readers, I like to thank our viewers and listeners. I like to thank them that hope they have some takeaways for themselves. Do leave a comment on what was the best part of this podcast, and it would inspire me to keep sharing like this and being here.
For sure. Thank you very much, Captain. And we'll see everyone in the next episode, probably next week. If there was some glitches in the recording, please kind of let us go for this time, because we are trying to make the first version. We'll serve you with the perfect version very soon. And about Captain Preetham Madhukar, we'll share his books details in the either we'll pin it in the comment or we'll put it in the description. He has his own YouTube channel, his ventures detail, all the parents, all the kids, all the corporate peers who are working and trying to learn more leadership and stop procrastinating what you're doing. Just go through them. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone, for watching us. See you on the other side.
Thank you so